Thanks, Bob. Let me just add some brief welcoming remarks. I want to say, first off, you're absolutely right. Andy and I absolutely could not have done what we did with these books and with the research at any place other than MIT. It's been an amazing home for us, and we're deeply grateful that whenever we have a tough question, we can just walk down the hall to the #1 economics department or the #1 computer science department or any of the other brilliant people working interdisciplinary across MIT. And we're also really grateful for all of you, because the truth is we spend as much time out talking to people like you, and to be brutally honest, especially people in Northern California. And so we're very grateful for the things that we've learned from you. And you'll see as you read the book and as we talk this afternoon that we've very much drawn on the insights that were invented and developed by people in this room and by your neighbors within a 50-mile radius of here. So it's a great privilege to be able to be here and talk to you a little bit about it. I also want to congratulate you guys. A week ago, the Golden State Warriors became the world champions, so congratulations. And as some of you may know, long before that, they were the NBA champions in analytics. They were the team that really crunched the numbers, and people were writing about what are they doing, these Silicon Valley people trying to figure out. And they did some deep analyses, and you know, with enough analysis, they figured out things. I don't understand all of it, but apparently like a 3-point field goal is worth a lot more than a 2-point field goal. So there were insights like that I think turned out to be really valuable. And other teams are now picking up on that, of course. And it's part of a Moneyball revolution that some people call it, that also started in Oakland with the A's, and the Boston Red Sox quickly picked up on that. And between the two of them, the two teams quickly won 3 world championships in baseball. So there's a revolution going on in analytics. And as we describe in the book, this is happening more and more in companies. There are 3 times as many companies that describe themselves as data-driven based on a set of criteria we developed as there were 5 years earlier. It's even coming to our own field of things like tenure committees, along with Dimitri Bert-Seamus and a couple of students, Shakar Reichman and John Silberhertz. We did an analysis, kind of Moneyball for professors, to figure out if we could predict which professors were going to be more successful and have more publications. And we looked at people early in their career, and we were able to predict pretty well which ones were going to get tenure and which ones weren't at top universities. We hit about a 70% success rate, which was, I was pretty good looking at this crew of early researchers. I think in some ways what was even more interesting were the people we got wrong, the people who we thought would get tenure and didn't, or vice versa. We went ahead and followed those guys for the following 5 years, and the people that the data, the analysis, the machines were saying should have gotten tenure significantly outperformed the people who actually did get tenure in terms of overall publication and research impact. So it seems like the tenure committees would have been better off giving a little more authority to the data-driven models. And this is something that is happening. It's a mindset that's changing in businesses around the world, trying to rely a little bit more on machines to help them make decisions. And even more profoundly, we're seeing that in some cases, machines are just taking over the decisions altogether. And of course, the artificial intelligence and machine learning revolution is the core of that. And we're seeing cars beginning to learn how to drive themselves. People are talking to phones, and the phones are talking back to them and answering their questions for them. Machines are crossing a threshold where they're beginning able to see as well or better than humans. And this is a very profound change, and as we'll talk about later, has some big implications for the workforce and the economy more broadly. I think we're still very much in the early stages of this, but the first part of our book talks about this revolution. The middle of the book talks about the trade-off between products and platforms. And today, if you look at the 5 most valuable companies in the world, 5 out of 5 of them are basically platform companies: Apple, Alphabet, Amazon, Microsoft, and Facebook. And there are a lot of smaller companies you haven't heard of that are leveraging the platform to grow quite rapidly. And so there's a revolution brewing there as well. And the third one is around the core and the crowd. For the first time in history, a majority of the world's people, billions of people, are digitally connected to each other. So they can learn from each other. They can tap into Wikipedia and other databases. But perhaps more profoundly, they can also contribute to them. So we're all sort of in a position where we can collectively add to, whether it's Kaggle or the other crowdsourced repositories. And companies are beginning to learn that by tapping into the crowd, they can get more and better solutions than only relying on the core people inside of the organization. So this is not a revolution. This is a triple revolution, all happening simultaneously. And what we try to do in the book, and we'll get into some of it today and this afternoon, is understand not just the headline changes, but also what are the underlying drivers, what are the economics that are important to all of that. And the initiative on the digital economy that Andrew McAfee and I co-founded is very much focused on trying to understand those fundamental principles. And we look to all of you, and today I hope you'll be active in asking us questions and engaging the conversation to help us shape the agenda, understand what the challenges and opportunities are that we should be looking at. But let me stop there, because Andy's going to dive in a lot more depth on this. And I mean, it's been a privilege at MIT, to work at MIT, but it's a special privilege to be able to work with Andy McAfee. He's my co-author, my colleague, my good friend, and we've been able to tackle a bunch of problems that I don't think I ever could have touched without him. He's one of those clear thinkers who really understands the economics and the business insights, but also is able to express it in a way that few other people can, to make it very, very clear to me, and I think to the world. You'll hear about that in a few minutes. And we went ahead and co-founded the initiative on the digital economy to help leverage the broader resources within MIT and in places like this room right now. So please join me in welcoming Andrew McAfee.